Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LD Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. Today we're covering Chasing Atlanta. This is season 7, episode 7. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video in support of me. You can share it. You can also subscribe to my channel and leave your comments below. Now let's get into this episode. Okay, y'all. So, Lord, we have turned into, what I want to say is just shout out to the editors that gave us the new opening of a soap opera. It's called These Are the Days of Our Chase, I think it is, or whatever it is. It's a play off of Days of Our Lives, and then the music is the Young and the Restless theme. So shout out to y'all. So Noel wanted to do the lemon squeeze. It's going to be hosted by him and facilitated with Dominique and Tony. To help in possibly resolving things. We're just gonna hash things out, and whatever your issue is, we're gonna talk about it. Anyone with the lemon in their hand can talk and not be interrupted. And we're supposed to be listening to understand and not to argue. All right, so the first two people that need the lemon are Noel and Tramell. They hashed out the stuff that was going on in the group chat where things kind of got, it wasn't even really bad, but there was some age shaming and talking about careers and all that stuff. Tramell just let it be known as even regarding the thing about him being Candy or not being successful. It wasn't that he thought that he would never be successful. Right now, we all trying to make it right now. Yes, you have had your level of success and all that, but look, he's not raining it down on your career, basically is what he's saying. Because Noel did say, I know that age shame and that probably offended you. Tramell said, no, that didn't offend me. Just the whole music part of everything. That was the part that was offensive. Because at some point, you're going to have to make it to 39. I think Noel is the youngest within the group. So Noel took that to heart because he was like, look, there's some personal stuff that I went through, and he's just grateful to be alive at the age that he is right now. He begins to talk about his grandmother that he just lost. Lived a long life and all of that. Tramell also opened up that he had lost a relative the night of Sammy's event, and he still pressed through. But they were able to relate and bond off of that, of just losing people that they love. Noel started to cry. They apologized to each other, and no beef, and it was squashed. What I will say, and maybe I should take this comment down, because I did put this comment on the Chasing comment page. Like, there's a chemistry between them, Noel and Tramell. I was like, okay. I see it. And I did say, I think they got boyfriends, but there's some chemistry here. That could be quite messy. I ain't trying to start nothing. It was just, I was noticing the chemistry there. I don't know if they had boyfriends during the time of filming. So maybe I'm not out of bounds. So maybe they have boyfriends now. So, hey. And I'm gonna bring something out in just a second, because I'm like, why did this happen? Anyways, Tony and Q. Tony said, look, I'm not really mad on you mad at you, specifically in regards to you being late to your own birthday party. And I'm speaking generally to everyone about being on time. Look, time is precious, and I'm not gonna be sitting around here waiting a long time for you all, And again, it wasn't no hard feelings towards you specifically. Q, be on time. Q went on to just explain a lot of things that were happening in preparation of getting to his birthday. There were some wardrobe malfunctions. He's a one-man show, and he's doing a lot, and everything just ran behind. But then Q, now you know I like you. Why did you have to have such a nasty confessional? You wanted to say that, I know Tony don't go nowhere, but she travels for work. She goes everywhere. What are you talking about? She's not hardly. She hasn't been at a lot of events because she ain't even there, so I don't even know why you would even start to read off like that. I don't know why Tony's even complaining, because she got in for free. And why are you charging people for your birthday? Other people had to pay, as you said. Why are you charging people for your birthday? I see that people, Tramell, he brought a gift. I don't know if anyone else, I just know specifically Tramell had a gift. I mean, look, if I'm paying, I will not gift you. If it's that far, I don't mind celebrating, but it's either or. I'm either paying on the front end or the back end. Which one do you choose? Which one do you prefer? Because choosing this day. I know that you have to go to sleep. So good night, Grandma. That was a lot. Tony said no one was entertained. Even if you're going to be late, you should have had things prepared. We were outside. Now, I spoke to Q in the comments. He said that it was only like an hour and a half. It wasn't the 3 hours that the show portrayed. And he said that he had a live band. There was stuff going on. I wasn't there. Anyone else want to confirm or deny what Q said? Let me know in the comments. But then this didn't make no sense. Dominique wants to bring up the diss track that was allegedly for Noel. And Tramel said that is false. They said, well, it's quite pointed, so false. That wasn't for him. You thought I just wrote this rap really quickly? No. And they squashed it right then and there. I think that should have been brought up when Noel and Tramel were doing their thing. I don't even understand why Dominique felt like it was important to bring up. Tramel, do you really... Is Dominique your real friend? Because I don't know about that. Or at least he wants to just switch up when he gets on the show. That could be dangerous too. But anyways, I felt like there was no need to do that. You already seen them make amends. Noel didn't even bring it up, so it didn't even matter to Noel. But you thought it should have been brought up. Why? Nova, she grabs the lemon and wants to speak with Noel. Nova says that she prejudged Noel because of how he had dressed before. Oh, you prejudge. Oh, who would have thunk that? She didn't really know how he was really coming in, like you got on this wig, Tony she said, I wasn't speaking for Nova. I will just say overall at how things go. A lot of times with straight cisgendered women, there's the sudden defense when they see a trans woman. Like, you're in our space, so what's going on here? And I'm a little bit puzzled by that. Not as far as the cisgender, because she said that possibly, well, she didn't say possibly, now that the transgender is out there, and you coming in, and you're drag or cross-dressing, whatever you want to call it, it's like, who are you and why you come up here taking space? But wasn't cross-dressing first before anything to do with transgender? Or were they around the same time? Because, I mean, at least cross-dressing was a lot, or drag, it was a lot more popular before transsexual. So I'm confused there. Y'all can come in my comments, let me know. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I don't know it all, but I'm just confused. She has said that you look like you were someone from a Tyler Perry play. Noel said in the confessionals, like, look, we know what type of character that you would be on Tyler Perry. And I'm sure that you sold more pussy than you have sold any of your books. Basically, I was a whore and I was a junkie. Noel said, I don't usually hear that from like transgendered people, or I usually hear that normally from older men. So that was something different to actually hear. Yeah, it's quite interesting, I guess, now for non-binary people to come showing up in a fashion that, okay, why are you here? Which is just, it's kind of odd within the community. There's all these defenses up, these walls up, and all this gatekeeping within the community that we aren't even talking to the straight folks about, or having these gates up for the straights. It is quite crazy. It's quite competitive. Q, he said, Q started talking about when he was living in Milwaukee, and the Issei, where he had this group where it was inclusive, where you just had different people with different identities coming forth where we just wasn't judging each other, and we got to lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. I thought it was cool at that moment to share that amongst this group, even though nobody took that advice. Okay, so next up, Q and Carl. They wanted to clear up when Carl was kind of going off while Q was trying to talk, saying, look, I'm not going to really be inviting you to my things. Or not, he was speaking to the whole group, if we fighting and stuff like that. And Carl was just going on. Now these jokers are trying to say that Q, since you're the, I don't know who said it, since you're the oldest, you should be teaching. I think that was Dominique. That's strike one. As Dominique saying, strike two to Q later on. But y'all doing everything in y'all power to police Carl. And I'm going to get into more of that in just a second. Y'all want him to behave a certain way. Y'all want to control him. He's a Leo baby, and you know he can't be controlled. Nobody's trying to control y'all. I don't get it. So now, Ken and Carl. Honestly, I hardly don't want to go through this conversation because it went nowhere, and Ken, you don't make no sense. I don't have a clearer mindset as to why you don't like Carl. Now, what I sense and what I feel is what's going on. Is what you just won't say. You're making up these really whack excuses that don't mean a thing. You're too busy trying to say, because I was trying to understand what you're talking about as to what really started whatever with him. You're too busy trying to say every time we get together that he's rah-rah. How rah-rah? Because there's nothing that has happened where things have gotten physical until that night. Until that night after Sammy's thing. Then they start talking about, why do you have to do that at Sammy's function? And Carl said, look, I waited until after his performance, the show is over, we're done, we out here. And I don't understand these reality folks. At least Dom should shut up, because he's been on this show for multiple seasons. He knows how reality show goes. You know that there's got to be some drama. You know this. And I'm disappointed in Dominique. And I think I'm a lot harder on him because A, you're a veteran, and then you signed up to be this anchor for the show. And then you act like you don't know what you're doing towards certain people. You act like you don't know the rules of reality TV. It's just now, we need to muzzle Carl. That's the wrong choice because you can't shut him up. But he said, look, I'm going to confront you where you got me effed up at. So look, I don't know. That's my personality. I ain't changing for nobody. That's not good enough for them. Now it's turned into them saying that this is some type of defense mechanism. Q was trying to say, since you got this defense mechanism up, that's holding people back from wanting to get to know you. That's not what it means. He said, look, don't start no ish, there won't be no ish. The most Carl has done is just called out the fuck shit. Now I'm cussing. That's all he has done. The fuck shit is how fake y'all are behind the scenes. That's all he's called out. There hasn't been any fights or nothing. It got heated for whatever reason with Ken, which I think that Ken is doing these things for diversions instead of really telling the truth. Just like we heard whatever happened at the 4th of July function, you did all this after Carl just confronted about not being invited to the birthday party. I think it was a diversion. Then y'all started talking about when y'all see each other as far as Tramel and Carl, it's just like one band, one sound. Why are y'all saying that? So y'all group these two together. And I don't think it's fair. Tramel, and you spoke up and said this, Ken, that Tramel came to you as an adult. Because Carl didn't come to you as an adult. If Tramel did that, cool. But then you're trying to say that he's throwing the rock and hiding his hand. I need to know what that is. And that's why I look at you really crazy. Because I don't really know what you're talking about because you're not saying what the rock was. You went around, we talked a couple of days and then you went around and da-da-da-da-da. Are you talking about when Tramel went to Sammy? After you got weird? And Tramel said, "Are you done?" Basically, Tramel is done with you, Ken. Look. Tramel just seems like a person that's just not willing to kiss ass. And he tried with you, and then the conversation went left for no reason whatsoever. And now you're stuck on saying stuff like Tramel is throwing the rock and hiding his hand. It's not making any sense. You're not even clear on what happened as to why you don't want Carl around you. Carl said, "Look, when you start talking about don't invite me here, da 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 da," that's what bothered me. He was able to say clear what was up. Whatever. The bottom line is, Ken don't like Carl. That's just it. There's not a real solid reason. He did not like him before he came on this show and within this group, and he let that continue on. And he's throwing shit at the wall, hoping it would stick, but not making any sense at all. After Tramel said, "Are you done?" Now Ken ready to get up. Why you gotta get up? Fight your battle. Because you really don't have any fight in you. You really don't. I actually want to defend everyone, but I'm just looking at some of y'all, and some of y'all are some weak ass bitches. Y'all really aren't who y'all claim to be. And I think really, are you the Britt Eady of Chasing Atlanta? Britt Eady made an issue with Kinga for no reason at all and didn't have anything, no legs to stand on. If y'all watched last season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, you had nothing to stand on. Let me get over this because I'm talking way too much. I really want to like you, Ken, but not under these circumstances. And I just think that your arguments are weak. And you just need to say that I don't like Carl, and I'm not liking Tramel because you're along with him. And we're going to get into more of what I feel is going on, because I really just feel like y'all don't want Carl and Tramel on the show, which I think I mentioned on last week's episode too, on review. Y'all don't want them on the show. Are we done? Because then you start talking about roommates. That's what pissed me off. What do you mean? How is that a dig? You could lose everything and those units off your head tomorrow. In this economy where nothing is sure right now, you want to speak on someone because of the stage of life that they're in? Almost 40, and you got to have a roommate. What is that? Again, you could lose everything tomorrow. I appreciate your artistry. The way that you want to show up on the show, starting to make me look at you very crazy. And I would love for you to explain yourself a whole lot better and show up a whole lot better than what you are right now. And I don't want to take sides or be biased. I actually, because I'm trying to get to know y'all. But I'm just seeing this foul spirit come up out of you. That's not right. That's not right. Let's see. I think we're done with them. Now, Althea shows up. So, Nova basically said, "Look, I just repeated what you said. And you shouldn't have been talking shit about your baby daddy." But what really bothers Nova about this whole situation is about an email. Well, let me back up. Althea was able to state what was, I think she said right then and there. But anyways, what was I going to say? Okay. She stated how she felt in the whole situation, I think. But anyways, Althea sent an email when she was ready to quit the show. And it was entitled, "A Story Should Be Told, Not Stolen." And she made these claims against Nova, that Nova used her personal storyline for screen time, called her insecure, especially around confident women, lying to create storylines, falsely claimed an invite of Tony's ball. Nova said that was incorrect, but it is correct. Physically trying to attack her, and implying that I use my trans identity as a shield. All I see is truth out of that, Nova. You did all of this. For whatever reason, this cast is on this protect trans women. Yes, protect trans women, but you can't call out the fuck shit. She lied on Tony. And then she told Tony, I lied to them to create a storyline. And y'all sitting up here just trusting her and just inviting her everywhere, da, 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 da. And I'm sure she's holding on to whatever she got to when she's ready to use it against y'all, if y'all telling her anything. Now, as far as reality TV, nothing is off limits. I think if you want to play that game, but you used it in a moment where you thought Althea was being offensive towards you, instead of at least saying, hey, could you not do that? Or why did you say this? Da 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 da. Like, you came in a very gutter butt way to her. And that's the thing. Like, you used what I had to say as far as my baby daddy. And then you even told it wrong. There was no game for pay. And you did it in a way to trying to shame me. Like, my man didn't want me, so he had to go get a man to do what I couldn't. And all we're really coming back to, and I'm glad the more you talk, the more you let us know what's really going on. Your real issue is that you don't want a woman on this platform because it is an LGBT community-based show. Then you had the nerve to say that Althea lied to get on this show. Are you a producer? Were you in the hiring process? What's she lie about? Because all we have been told is that Althea is the first cisgendered person to be on the show. And how do you know she lied? What did she lie about? That right there let me know you don't want a cisgendered woman on this show. And you've had beef with her since the beginning. At least in your mind. And then, let me see where we're at. I told you that story because just like you are a prostitute, so is my dude, or my ex-dude. And then there was a little thing, Tony jumped in and said, that's sex work, not prostitution. I feel her in what she's trying to say. The root of everything, though, is still under the umbrella of prostitution. You are still selling your body for some money. That's how I feel about it. But anyways, you're not talking about that on the show. Althea's the only one that's saying something about it. Nobody's weaponizing what you're doing on OnlyFans. Housewives, you can't talk about that. Now, Chloe on Dallas, she was doing that. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's weaponizing you at all. Everybody is just tiptoeing around you and don't say nothing. And that's just weird to me. That's very weird. Why are y'all policing Carl and you got nothing to say to Nova at all? Because all y'all said in your confessions, well, you got to watch what you say. If you don't want to bring it on the show, don't say nothing. That's true. But you've heard her say stuff and you don't bring it up. Why don't you, hopefully I'm about done. Then where it all started, where she says that when the comment about BB or VV or whatever it is, it's a type of, I think it's a vaginal disease that people with vaginas get. You had a problem because you thought it was just another woman trying to say, I can get this and you can't get that. Althea said that wasn't my intent. That was nowhere in my mind to do. She stated a fact. She's amongst a lot of men. You two are women. You're the only one here, and you're the only one that's taking offense to it. So that prejudging thing that I was talking about, it got quite worse. But anyways, Althea said, I'm a black woman. I'm a mother. You don't think after hearing all that and what I expressed to you that I'm owed an apology? And she said, and he said no. I'm sorry, and I did not mean that. Charge it to my head. She said no. I did not mean that. She said no. I don't think so. You shouldn't have been talking shit about your baby daddy. It's like, are you worshiping men? We know you hang with ain't shit men, and you like it. So there really isn't any resolve. Althea said, I forgive you. Now, she ain't gonna fool with you no more. But you did just like a straight woman. And that's why I can't stand, and I couldn't hear that next word. However, Q came back around and ended up saying, because Dom was like, well, I want to open up something to you, but this is not the time. Basically wanting to invite the group someplace, but nobody's really getting along. Q ended up saying, look, cut all of this reality TV kumbaya shit. These folks already said that they can't stand each other. There's not going to be resolved. There is no come to Jesus with these folks. It's just really bad right now. So cut the cameras, basically, Tamika. Dom has a problem with Q about that. Like, I wasn't really thinking, no. So Q right there obviously knows and obviously has conveyed to us that he understands that Nova don't like straight women. And Nova don't want straight women on this platform. Okay, so Dom, Kim, Sammy, and Nova, they're out there, and of course Dom, I'm saying Dom, but I better say Dominique. Let's talk about this travel thing. He doesn't know because what's going to happen is going to be like a house A and house B. Nova says, look, I don't have a problem with her. I don't have no issue with her. I'm just not apologizing to her. Which is weird because you say that you hate fish. Which fish is very disrespectful to women, as I'm hearing. I'm just learning all these terms and all that good stuff. But anyways, then Dominique started talking about Althea. Althea's been doing things to try to make herself feel comfortable within this group. Dominique feels like when she brought her friend to Q's birthday party, she was trying to make herself feel comfortable. And also, what was the other thing? Showing up the last 15 minutes of this whole lemon squeeze was trying to feel comfortable. Well, I think because there has been a rift, she hasn't been around y'all. She's already said that she's upset with y'all. Oh, Dom did bring up that he was hurt by the email too. I don't know what was said. It wasn't said, but Althea was really like, why are y'all going after her after she was attacking me? Basically, Dom said she's gonna have to make a choice. You won't be comfortable, or you need to do something else. And who are you? I know you're the anchor, but who are you? Everybody you speaking to right then and there are newbies. They just got here. Who are you? And then you also said for Carl and Jamel, they're gonna have to make a choice because y'all not gonna be invited to events if y'all gonna be. Again, Carl has only called out the fuck shit. Has any fight started? No. The only thing that started to really rumble was that Sammy's thing. So it's obvious that there's people within this group that are trying to get some people out of this group, which are Carl, Tramel, and Althea. Let me move on because I've been talking way too long. New Orleans. Some of the cast went to the Red Dress run. Sammy, Ken, and Q, they seem to have formed a bond. And they was kicking it down there and all that good stuff. Tramel, he has a gig at a Pride event. He did really well. The song Single, I really like. That's a bop to me. Tramel talks about Carl's support towards him. That's his best friend. That's the only friend out of his former friend group that is still sticking by his side. And he's always got his back. And he also he got another gig while he was performing at this Pride to go to a Pride in Columbus, Georgia. So I thought that was really good. Noel goes out on a date. He's talking to someone named Devontae. And now, right now, Noel shows up a little bit more boyish. And Devontae is more the femme person, although he is in the military or army. And he's also in school. He called himself a soft top. This is their second date, and they have been taking their time. Noel was the one to initiate all of that because he's rushed into a lot of relationships before. Noel is asking Devontae, are you talking to anyone else while we've slowed things down? Devontae said no. However, he does like to be out there like a hot commodity. Meaning there's a lot of folks that are at his door, but he's not opening up the door. But he enjoys it though. Devontae's not so sure about Noel. Noel is a lot more friendly to people. And it could look like, okay, well, he's really showing himself too friendly to folks. But Devontae is the person that really will shut you off, like, go on over there, we ain't got nothing to talk about. But there's some insecurities towards Nell, and he's like, well, you really don't have to be insecure. There's questions about his Twitter. It's not what it seems. I don't know what he does on Twitter. I think we didn't dialogue, but because of something that happened on this season, he responded on Twitter. Shout out to you, Noel. Anyways, he's having a double date with Kareem and Khalil. One thing I will say out of this whole exchange, that I think that, Noel, you are bringing something else to the community, because normally people just can't do what you do. As far as, you're just breaking the stereotypes down, I'll just say that much, and breaking these barriers. You get to be non-binary, you can be, what is the word? I forgot the word, it's the E word. And I'm going to say it wrong, and that's why I don't want to say it. But you're being all of that and unapologetically, and it's cool to see that. Just because normally it's the more mask-presenting people that get all the shine and all of that, but you're just showing up in a different way. And I'm really loving your presentation and also representation within the community and how you're showing up on the show. I'm really digging it. And then we end off this episode as a continuation. Ken and Carl are going to see if they can really get together and squash whatever and see if they can be friends. Do you think they're going to do it? I don't think so. But we shall see. I appreciate one for coming. I appreciate, please leave your comments below. Did I say everything right? I don't know. But y'all can tell me in the comments. I can learn. Just still stay respectful, please. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until the next one, peace.